All right. I'll call the motion, I will call the October 15th City Council meeting to order. Call the roll.
John Hawkins,
Yeah.
Matt McKinney,
Here.
Brian Miller,
Here.
Jim Talbot,
Here.
Logan Welch.
Here.
Call for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Section A, petitions, communications and requests. This is the time of meeting that a citizen may address the council on a matter not on the agenda. Except in case of emergency, the City Council will not take any action at this meeting, but may ask city staff to research the matter or have the matter placed on the agenda for a future meeting. Anyone have any public information? Anyone in? Still got people coming in. Do you think? I suppose we'll move on. B is minutes and claims. The following items have been deemed non-controversial routine actions to be approved by council in a single motion. If a council member or a member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, it will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. I have minutes of October 1st and October 8th, 2018. Item 2 is a resolution on payroll in the period ending September 29th of 2018 and paid on October 5th, 2018. 3 is a resolution on bills and the funds list. How would you like to?
I'll move to approve 1, 2, and 3 collectively.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. C, general agenda. We're not quite there. We'll go to item 2. Oh, we're already well over by then. That's okay, isn't it? Item 2 is a presentation by Mobile Crisis Response Team Director on new program available in Hamilton County concerning mental health. Christina Engel, come on up.
Thank you for allowing me to come and speak. I'm Christina Engel. I'm the Director of Director of Crisis Services, and I oversee the mobile crisis team that is operating in the CACS region, which is an 11-county region. Hamilton is one of those counties, and that's why I'm here today. We have about 54 counselors who are on call 24/7, 365 days a year. We respond to people who are experiencing a mental health crisis. It could be they're having anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, homicidal ideations, psychosis, substance use and abuse, and any combination thereof. We go out into the community, so wherever they're at, we go to meet them. A lot of times it's in homes, we've been to coffee shops, I've been to jail cells. It can be kind of wherever we need to go. The only place we cannot respond is into the hospital. So we go out to respond to these calls, and really the ultimate goal is to kind of help stabilize within the community. A lot of times people only know to call 911 or to go to the hospital. Those are the only two options for people, and this is kind of a third option. We don't involve law enforcement if we don't need to, so people can call us, we'll come respond. A lot of times we try to avoid the hospital. That can be very costly. They wait for beds for days on end if they need a bed, and so this is a way where we kind of stabilize in the field. We have taken 293 calls to date. We started back in March in the 11 counties, and only 41 of those people have been brought to the hospital. So that kind of speaks to how much we're really trying to stabilize in the community. The reason I'm here today is because Hamilton is so far my only county out of the 11 that does not have any calls. And I'd like to think it's because we're very stable in Hamilton County, but I'm guessing there might be a circumstance out there or two where our services could be warranted. So we're just really trying to get the word out about our service. Hamilton County is part of the CACS region, so they're part of the funding for this program. So we want to give you guys an equal shake as all of our other counties who are utilizing us currently. In October, we've already taken 31 calls, so we're projected to kind of really skyrocket this month because that's over 2 a day at this point. So just really trying to get the word out there in Hamilton County. The unique thing about our service is after the crisis call is over, our case managers follow up the next day. They'll help clients get to appointments, they'll help set up services, so we're not coming in to take over, we really just want to collaborate with what you guys already have built in the community. So we'll help them kind of connect to those resources, if it's med management, therapy. We've helped a blind woman, she was experiencing suicidal ideation, she couldn't get her meds taken on time, and so we helped get her a machine that actually gives her her meds at the scheduled time. So really, we have no ends to what we try to help provide for clients, but we are available and we want to be out there and help you guys as much as, and help your community as much as possible. So I brought a stack of crisis cards. Our number is on that, and that's how you access us. You call the 1-800 number. They'll ask kind of brief questions about what's going on. They'll assess to make sure the scene is safe, and then they'll deploy one of our teams. So, thank you.
What is that number?
Yeah, so the number is 1-844-258-8858.
So have you collaborated within the school systems as well?
Yep, so we reached out to the superintendent and we've talked to them. We've done, several presentations kind of in and around the community hospitals, board of supervisors. We've done a couple community team meetings as well where a lot of school representatives have been. So I think the problem is it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, so we're just kind of going back through and making sure everyone's aware of our services because that was during the summer. Now that school has started, we do get called to schools very frequently, so that's one of our places we do respond. I should mention, we do serve children and adults, so it's across the board. I've been out on a 5-year-old and I've been out on a 98-year-old, so we have no limit to what we serve, and we could care less what your address is as long as you're physically standing in one of our 11 counties. That's all we care about. So, very good.
Christine,
Thank you.
how can we help promote it? And I ask this because, as you know, my wife is tied to your organization as a part-time counselor, and I've always been kind of hesitant to promote it because
Right.
technically my wife's employed there.
Right.
So,
Right.
but how can we get the word out and get it to be more of a go-to number for our police department, first responders, stuff like that?
Yeah. One thing we're really trying to get into Webster City Police. That's one place where we haven't really been able to get connected to. So if you have any connections there, maybe inform them of this. I do plan to reach out again to that. Doug Timmons has been he's attended every meeting, and I think he's trying as well from his end. But anyone you know who could utilize this service, or somebody who would be either a provider for people who might need this service, or in the school system, any of that kind of thing, just reminding that it's available would be great. So, highly appreciate it.
You're gonna leave those cards?
Oh, I will leave the whole stack. You can give them away to whoever you want. I just say don't offend anyone by
No.
giving them a crisis card. So, very good.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we'll go back to item 1 on the agenda. 5:35 PM is the time for a public hearing on proposed development agreement with Ridge Development Company LLC. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
Received no written objections.
Are there any oral objections?
No oral objections.
I'll close the hearing. Carla, did you want to talk on that? Evening, Carla.
Good evening. We have Brian Ridge in the audience if you have any particular question you would like to ask him. But this is the development that he is adding housing to our subdivision, not our subdivision, excuse me, the subdivision in our community east of town. And he did get the IFA award that we have already addressed as far as giving him $1,000 per housing unit within the 4 years time frame, and IFA said 9 homes within 3 years. So at the rate he's going, he'll make it. He has 2 up and sold, and he has 2 more that he's digging basements for, and he might even take out another permit yet this year. And we're thrilled. The housing and the quality that he's doing is awesome. So anyway, we've already amended the TIF agreement to include his project. We did that at the last council meeting. And now for his development agreement, It is for the $91,000. 40% of that has to be set aside for the LMI set aside. And then he only gets up to the expiration date of those districts as they stand now. And that is 5-year period on any lot that he's purchased in lot 4, and 9-year period of any lot that he's purchased in home 5th. So he doesn't get the full amount because Strucken has used up the majority of it, and at least we can help him out with something. So the agreement will be subject to annual appropriations, so you review it every year. You get that chance, and I guess we just want to let him move forward and be a part of his success for him. Any questions of me or Brian? It's pretty cut and
Thanks,
dry,
Val.
but okay.
Thank you. Call for a motion on the resolution approving development agreement with Ridge Development Company LLC, authorising annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledge certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement.
So moved. Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 3 on the agenda is a resolution setting a date for public hearing on urban renewal plan amendment for November 19 at 5:35 p.m. Did you want to talk on that one again, Carla?
Okay, this one we're setting the hearing, and this will be the plan we're gonna amend for, out on the project along Edgewood Drive. And there again, that developer has asked for TIF, and in order to do so, we have to amend our plan to, let him qualify. So anyway, we've been having some water issues, but Public Works has met with the engineers today, and they have promised some relief, and so you don't see much going on. However, there was a pre-construction meeting held Friday, I believe, yeah. And we had the table full of all the contractors that are gonna be working on the first apartment complex. And it's gonna be an all-electric unit, or facility, 30 units. And they took out the building permit, so we know we're moving forward, and I've been in contact probably the last 3 working days. I've talked to Dave Walters on it, and we are moving forward, but we're not letting them do too much until they get this water issue resolved. I mean, that needs to be taken
The
care of.
stormwater deal.
Yeah, so, anyway, this will be just to set the hearing for November 19th, and then in the meantime, I have to set a meeting with the taxing entities so they can say A or nay, they get a choice or chance to voice their opinion. And then I have already sent resolutions to the college, county, and school district for them to approve the extension of a payback of 16 years instead of the state code requirement of 11 years. And I've gotten 2 out of the 3 back, the third one they haven't met till next week. So everything's moving forward, but we want to be sure that we've got our issues met before it goes too far. Okay?
Yeah. Thanks, Carl. Anyone have any more? Anyway, we're only setting the time anyways. Call for a motion to make November 19th at 5:35 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 4 is a motion approving a proclamation by Mayor for Arbor Day in Webster City on April 26th of 2019.
And this is our, just our annual acknowledgement of Arbor Day that we do for a couple reasons. For Trees Forever, for being as a Tree City USA, as well as any grants that we might have in the future for this. And so that Friday, probably that Friday afternoon around 1:30, for anybody interested, we'll have Tree Planting Day. And I know one of the sites is Kendall Young Park, and I'm not quite sure where the other one's gonna be yet. So we'll have information out this spring on it. And there's no cost for this.
Do you get the trees through that place down in Ames?
Yes, the DNR State Nursery.
Does Black Hill still get involved in that? I know they did for a while.
Yes, they do yeah. And each year, the last several years, we've gotten about $2,500 from Black Hills Energy.
Now, is it possible for people to get trees through this proclamation, for private property?
The small seedlings that we get from the Iowa State University, or the nursery down there, it's for public property only.
Oh.
So I know they have other programs in which, if somebody wants to do a windbreak out on a farm or something, they can do that. But for the program we're involved, it's just for city-owned property.
Okay.
They do have deals where you can buy certain times of the year the DNR put out where you can buy a certain amount of trees. But
Yeah, no, there's just a lot of
but it's
places in town
quite a
with
few
trees.
at a time when you're buying.
Yeah. It used to be a minimum 500, but I think they've reduced that down now.
Yeah, I think I got 250 the last time I was doing it.
And they're pretty cheap. They're only about a quarter to 40 cents a piece. So
a lot of sticks that turn up at your house. All right, call for a motion.
So moved.
All those in favour say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 5 on the agenda is a resolution authorising the Mayor and City Clerk to enter into a professional services agreement with Shive Hattery Incorporated, West Des Moines, Iowa, for the development of a master plan for the Hamilton County Trails Network and a feasibility study for Boone River Recreational Trail extension to Kendall Young Park.
And again, through this process, we applied for, as you know, this was a hotel motel tax grant that was approved by the city council, and from that, we sent out a request for qualifications to several engineers, and then informal committee made of Ken Wetzler, myself, Brian Lammers, and George Caggiano from the Conservation Board. We met, chose 3 to send out requests for proposals, and then the 3 were returned with this being the lowest quote provided. And we've talked with them, and it seems like a reputable company to work with too.
Is the county doing some trails at the same time? Can we talk about that?
For development, I mean, this is in cooperation with the county on that. Okay. Since we're the sponsoring agency, we wrote the grant for it on that. But we'll be working closely with the county, not only for the county trails plan, but equally important part of this is to do the preliminary design study of the extension of the Boone River Trail off White Fox that would go into Kendall Young Park. It would head north on White Fox across that walking bridge and then go up Jane Young Road over to the park there.
Okay, thank you.
Call for a motion.
So moved.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 6 is a motion on tree grinding services and mulch removal at the tree brush drop-off site.
Again, this is our annual tree grind. We've been doing this since 2003. The nice thing is it's a little less expensive this year. That last year we had a 5-year program with the elimination of the ash trees in the city right-of-way areas as well as public parks. So it's less than it was last year. And one thing that I put in this memo, a proposal, that they're filling up pretty fast from the abundance of mulch they have down the street department. They've tried hauling out of that some of themselves, but I've met with Brandon, and he thinks this dollar amount, provided they have room where they're taking it to north of town, that should take care of pretty much all of the excess that we've had. And we've tried different things through the years, and we just have too much down there.
Okay. Else have any questions?
And we'll put a plug in too, if anybody does need mulch, we'll load it for them if they wanna bring down their trucks or anything. We've done that before for different farmers that have windbreaks that wanna mulch around that. We've loaded up their semis or dump trucks or grain wagons full of mulch for them at no charge too.
We'll even deliver a truckload to your house.
Yeah.
Anybody you don't like?
Zach just got back.
2 loads to Zach's house.
How soon are they gonna get after that?
The hauling, for the grinding, they're gonna try the end of next week, and so we don't wanna be in their way. We'll probably let them grind first, and then, after they're done, if nobody needs any, we'll start hauling. So in probably 2 or 3 weeks at the earliest.
So right now, the plan is we'd move forward with the recommendation of just hiring the company out to grind and haul the old stuff.
Right, that company would just do the grinding itself, and then we would have the local haulers, the ones that dump trucks, they would haul them, so that would be kept local.
That's a separate part of it, yeah. So, call for motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 7 is a motion on request from Community Vitality Director to approve specifications and seek bids for entrance to Webster City signs. Lindsay, you're up.
Okay, so, as part of our rebranding for the city, we knew right away that we were gonna need to update our entrance signs, and that was one of the higher priorities, along with changing some of the signage on our vehicles. The condition of our current signs with the current logo, the reflective material is wearing off, and so as you come in at night, you might notice it looks sort of dirty as well. So the timing is good at the same time to replace those signs. So talking to Brandon Barnabas, Director of the Street Department, and working with Darcy Swan, that we've been working with on the rebranding. I went to Tim Adams from Stony Creek Landscape with some ideas for a design for a new entrance sign. I had recently attended or visited the city of Manning. So here's our current sign, picture of it, with that stone base. But I went to visit Manning for a meeting there with the University of Iowa folks. We're doing a partnership with that community, and I immediately stopped and pulled over and took a picture of their entrance sign. This is something they did in partnership with a company that does sheet metal fabrication there. But it's very catching. They also did new branding and new tagline, and rather than just have a flat blade sign, it really has more of a 3D sculptural effect. It's kind of hard to tell from here, but this is how it looks lit up at night. It's actually just a powder-coated blue panel that's in the middle of a stainless steel wraparound, so it kind of boxes that in and creates a really neat effect. It got me thinking about how if we're going to have to replace our entrance signs anyway, maybe we could explore the option of doing something that has a little bit more of artistic sculpture effect, that creates a more attractive entrance, while still utilizing our existing stone base that was done some years ago. Many communities are going this direction with building more elaborate entrance signs. It's really another part of economic development, that creative placemaking, really working on the attractiveness of your community and making a good impression to residents and visitors. So with that, I worked with Tim and Gail at Stony Creek. I came to them with a rough idea. They agreed to help put together some specifications for design. This part I couldn't scan and give to council, but certainly give you a chance to review. And you'll have to forgive me on the next slide. This is my attempt with Publisher, Microsoft Publisher, to put together a rendering of the design, and I'll try to walk you through it. But realize that this is not professional graphic design. This is me, Lindsay, putting this together. But this is generally what it would look like. And what we're looking at here is basically three layers. The front layer is a stainless steel or aluminum. I think it's actually the specs went with aluminum.
The brown banding at the top and bottom is that weathered steel, kind of like the pedestrian bridge we did, and that really helps ground the, and give it more of an earthy feel that ties into the stone. We have a very modern, colorful logo, and to find a design that meshes well with the stone earthy base was a bit of a challenge. The middle is actually 3 or 4 separate panels that are bolted together on a center frame that would be powder coated to match our brand colors and give the effect, they're wavy, and so they give the effect of pulling those colors from within the WC across. So they extend out both ends of the front panel. And then on the reverse, you again have the aluminum with the weathered steel, and as of right now, this is spec'd out to have a vinyl applique for the logo itself, and it might end up being the stacked version with the Webster City underneath or the horizontal. It just depends on what fits best with the final size of the project. We could just go with a simple blade sign again, but this really, I think, fills up the space and just gives it a little bit more interest, visual interest. At this time, we're not really wanting to debate the design unless there's any very strong objections to it. Please don't base that on my publisher skills. But, you know, that's, I guess, what we're asking is if you would approve for us to go ahead and seek bids for somebody to actually fabricate and install this. I had just an idea for image, but Tim has been kind enough to put it together. I went to Stony Creek because I have an idea of what's possible, but he has the experience of actually working with these materials and knowing how they can be installed. So.
Where is Webster City on that sign?
It's in the gray, so it might have to come in we might have to do it in white or black so it stands out a little more. Until we do some mock-ups on the actual materials, it'll be hard to know for sure.
Looks like somebody telling us where the high school is there, WC.
Well, that's our logo now.
Okay.
That's for everything is the WC, and a lot of people have appreciated the purple and gold in there because of the, you know, it speaks to part of our identity. We have a lot of school pride. So, but we've got the blue and the green in there, which is kind of a bit of a river. And it has a whole story. Yeah.
So I see a lot of communities, they have new signs and stuff, and they also incorporate their slogan or their motto, whatever you want to call it. Are we gonna incorporate that at all, or is that something
You know,
purposely left out?
we put it in there, but then we're not sure that long-term, I mean, we're hoping for this, we wanna use, the last time they used kind of like the 5 to 6 year vinyl, we wanna go more of that 10, 12-year vinyl, so it's more durable. And a tagline is something that you're not gonna use all the time and it might change. We see being attached to this brand, this logo, longer than we might be attached to the tagline, and so we don't wanna have to go back and redo it if we end up changing that down the road.
I definitely like the idea of using those existing bases or reusing those.
Are those currently, it's bad that I don't know, are they illuminated, or is there any plans for lights?
Right, so I actually kind of added a little bit of cushion into the cost to account for potentially some solar lights. It'll require some uplighting. Right now, we use a reflective vinyl. It has kind of that, you can see up there, it kind of has that banding across it, so it just...
They're not illuminated.
I didn't think so.
It's not illuminated, so, you know, some standalone solar lights or something like that to help light it up at night is kind of the plan.
Yeah, when are we doing this one? We gotta hear
We need
that.
to do that one too, yeah, we do. We just got I think we just went ahead with the vehicles too.
We can get one extra one of them
Yeah,
involved up
yeah,
there.
you're good.
I do think the suggestion of them making sure the Webster City is very
Very
readable.
visible. Yeah, that's, and like I said, it's just, I think we kind of saw with some of the vehicles, we thought the gray lettering would be okay on the silver cars, and I think we've decided to go with white, if I'm not mistaken, on the silver vehicles, so it just.
I think your rendering looks real good, by the way.
I think you did well, yeah.
I was when you were feeding the reader or going up to it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awful, but it looks great.
It's, I actually like created each boulder there, so.
Did you copy and paste the ferns?
It's clip art, it's a nice clip art on there.
No, it does a good job. Going off of what Tim drafted up with like colored pencils and stuff, it does a good job kind of representing it in its setting. And it looks great. You know, and again, reusing those stone pieces that were put in, what was it, 10 years ago? 8 to 10 years ago? I'm not sure when. Beautiful bases, but unfortunately, you know, they went with a reflective, you know, road sign, you know, that mounted to them. So this is much more fitting, I feel.
That's what we were going for. I mean, the signs themselves just didn't seem to match, and then especially going with the new logo, we needed a little bit more to fill that space and do, and work with that, so.
And there'll be, is there just 2 of them, right?
Three.
Three, okay, that's right. And then, is there plans of a 4th, or just we're using the ones that have the bases now?
Where would the fourth?
Or like,
White Fox.
yeah, be White Fox coming in like from the north, or, because we have east, west, and south, right? Yeah. I guess it's probably not that heavily traveled.
I'd like to see one on White Fox.
You gonna
Your
put it,
yard?
you gonna put it in your yard, Bob?
You can put it in my yard. If it's out Webster City, you can put it in my yard.
That's official.
Well, maybe for that, we could do some variation of this without the stone base or something,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But for now, I guess what we're asking for is those 3 main entrance points, so.
Okay,
Looks good.
call for a motion.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Item 8 is a resolution authorising use of community development block grant CDBG funds for workforce housing project.
Carlos.
Carl, you want to be ahead? Look at Carl.
Okay, this project is the project at the old hospital site. And at the last meeting, you entered into an auction with WC Partners LLC to purchase that property. And now they're working on their IFA application, which means they need help from us to make their application stand out, score more points, and be awarded for our project. At this point in time, we're very fortunate to have existing CBDG money that could be allocated towards this project. And the amount that they would need would depend on whatever cost it would, up to $100,000, but it would depend on infrastructure costs, because for this workforce housing development, infrastructure is serving only them, which with the state people is a criteria for us to be able to use CBDG funds. So we could, and we have said that this is what we were taking to you now tonight, to see if we could use those funds to help with some of their costs, not all of them, but some of their costs for infrastructure. Street, water, sewer, storm, whatever, electric, whatever's needed to put that subdivision in compliance with our regulations for subdivisions, first of all, and then with the state, if monies can be used for something related to that. And Lindsay and I have already talked with the state, and they have said that this project would qualify. So this would be similar to what we're doing with Quickstar. When we did the intersection, we offered to pay so much, and then they're picking up the balance, and this would be the same. We offer so much to them, and then they have to pick up the balance of the infrastructure. So it's a nice problem that we have to use up CBDG monies, and Lindsay can vouch for anything else regarding the funds, as she's working on another project for those funds. But we have to use it or lose it. So for the city having to come up with something to boost this developer's application, we're very fortunate we have something that needs to be used and that qualifies for that particular project.
Can you speak to the CDBG funds as far as, was it taking away from any other projects? Is it, have we talked about using those for?
And So I've come and talked to you before about CDBG funds. Those are the same pool of funds that we're tapping into for the slum and blight elimination, the downtown project, the Elks Club. At one point, the state had said that we could potentially use those funds for an elevator in the building, but they've since rescinded that guidance. And so there was a pool of funding still, or part of that funding made available again for another eligible project. This particular housing project would satisfy the LMI housing or workforce housing part of that 70%, 30% breakdown of CDBG requirements. And like Marla said, because those water lines, those infrastructure lines wouldn't be going to serve any of the neighborhood, and we know that the majority of those units are going to serve workforce housing eligible individuals. The state was very pleased that this opportunity came up to use these funds. And so if it weren't for these funds, we'd be looking for out of our other general or utility funding to do the same thing to help make it competitive. So like she said, it's good that we have this. The opportunities are lining up here that we can use these funds and get it spent down, which has been a priority.
Is it still the same criteria of having this money spent by December 31st that we were trying to follow with the?
Not on the original lot, is it?
No, we have, basically it's like 5 years that we need to spend this $750,000 down or else it goes back.
There's some of the funds is there now, which is why we have to spend that amount.
That was-
And then some is revolving.
It's like
back in.
$700,000, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's like $780,000 and some of that's gonna be revolving back in from the Marian's expansion loan. And we have to have a plan for 5 years, and I have that submitted to the state, that we're spending those funds down, no longer loaning.
I just remember we had that funds, the group of similar funds that had to be spent down by the end of this calendar year.
Wasn't that the facade
That's
repair?
We have it initiated, the project initiated, yeah, and which we have with that one.
Is there any other way we can help them get the points they need? Or are there any other options?
Actually, because of the location, it should score pretty well as, for reasons of being close to an elementary school and bike trails and grocery stores and clinics and things like that. Oftentimes workforce housing, unfortunately communities try to put them out on the perimeter of town. They like to see where they're more centrally located and closer to amenities and services, so yeah.
I'm sorry, what exactly is workforce housing?
It's more affordable housing, so
Okay.
up to 80% of the median income level, which captures a lot of entry-level teachers and all sorts of
Okay,
things.
so is it like apartments or is it actual?
Oh, these are gonna be duplexes,
Okay.
really nice twin homes, their designs, the council has seen. It'll be a really lovely, almost like a pocket neighborhood look right there, so.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I just thought of another thing too, that we had an appraisal done for this property, and it came at $153,000 for that parcel. And the option was for that amount. They gave us the full asking price, when in their first offer, I think they said $64,000, because that was going to be our contribution.
Yeah.
That we were going to knock off the selling price. But they gave the full amount, and then now we're just coming up with a way that we can get that contribution back in there for them. And, yeah, they signed the option last meeting, I believe, it was after that, so and now November 1st is their drop dead date for their submission to IFA.
So at this point, we're just kind of pledging we would put this money towards the project.
Yeah,
And if the
if they
project
don't
doesn't
get it,
win,
right,
right,
if they
it's
don't
still.
get it, they don't get our money,
Right.
yeah.
Right, and as with the other project with CDBG funds, we have to do the environmental and historical clearance and that whole process with the state, but none of that really happens until we know they're gonna get the award.
Perfect. Good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, call for a motion for the grant, for using the money from the CDBG funds.
So moved.
Second.
Could I ask a question for my
Yeah.
gratification? The CDBG money, where does that come from? I know, you say the state or federal government, that's still taxpayer money, so that's my concern.
That's HUD funding, so Housing, Urban Development Funding, the federal department.
It's a red leg loan, I believe it was originally, was it, or not?
No,
This
this
one
wasn't
wasn't.
that's USDA.
Okay.
This is HUD. The community development block grants come down to the state from the HUD department as a state block grant, and then the state puts together its programs. These particular funds are from when communities used to have a revolving loan program. That's no longer in existence. It's not one of the programs that the state operates, so that's why there's the pressure to spend this down. So, but yes, it's federal funds that were allocated to our community many years ago through the state.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
I have a motion by Brian, second by McKinney.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion approved. Item 9 is a motion accepting 23 easements from property owners in the East and West Curve Drives area in connection with the electrical upgrading project. Kent, one of
This
them.
is for the, just so they can go underground with all the easements, right?
Yeah.
And I know 23 of the 25 approved of that, so.
Yeah. Okay, it's fairly, anyone need any more? Okay. Call for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 10 is a motion on request from Public Works Director to approve entering into a joint city-county street project in the area of McKinley Cantor Drive and North Des Moines Street. Again, you might as well come up on this one.
Thank you for the opportunity to explain this to you. Nikki, the county engineer contacted me several months ago and before Danielle left, and we discussed it. And at that point, we were in somewhat of a limbo as to whether or not we should do this project. The more we discussed it, the more we realized that this is a great opportunity for us to take advantage of the economy of scale of getting a price when she's doing the engineering, they are doing the engineering, they're running the project, it's being bid through DOT, so it will be let through them. They will, the county will do the inspections, we'll pay for a portion of it. It's not gonna be, I don't think we could get this work done any cheaper. If we did it ourselves, we would pay way more than what we estimate we're gonna pay. She just gave me some engineering estimates today, and the estimate that I gave you in that memo was roughly $250,000 for McKinley Cantor and for North Des Moines Street, our sections of it. That's high. Now, as my conversation with Nikki this afternoon was, she came in under that, and I said, Nikki, that's great. I hope that really happens, but we don't have the bids yet. So an engineer's estimate and a bid price are sometimes two different things. So we still have in the budget that amount of monies to be able to do that, and if it comes in less than that, that's great, then we can use it towards another project. So, any questions as to what it actually includes or what's gonna be done?
I assume the road condition warrants it at this point, that's why we're looking at it.
That's correct. I re-drove it this afternoon, and yeah, it's, the county's portion is very similar to ours, and it needs to be redone, and now's the time to do it. And I think North Des Moines Street, I kind of questioned that a little bit, but I think when Electrolux left and they hauled a lot of dirt in there, that really kind of didn't help that road at all, but it is what it is.
And the county owns the west half of the.
Correct.
So we'd have the west half down and not the east half.
So,
Just for my I'm envisioning this from the Des Moines Street Bridge north.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I'm still trying to get the McKinney key. Try it.
Well, think of the old Cashway Blacktop. That's what I put in my memo is look at it as the old, what I would refer to as the old Cashway Blacktop. So in other words, from Old Highway 20 going north about roughly 2,400 and some feet, which will get you up, you know that driveway that goes back east? There's a tower back there.
Yeah, the house, the
Yeah,
old
it's about right about in there somewhere.
Okay.
So, and that's all City of Webster City, because that's inside corporate limits.
Okay, yeah.
And this, this project will actually, it will be what we refer to as rural street construction. It will not have curb and gutter. It'll stay basically the same.
Well, if the road condition warrants it, we've seen the cost of engineering fees and pieces that go with just the construction, it makes sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, this, to me, this is a heck of a deal.
Okay. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, sounds good, yeah, thank you.
Call for motion.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item 11 is a resolution approving additional work to the GPS GIS mapping consultant services agreement with Midland GIS Solutions of Maryville, Missouri.
And again, this would be for an additional $5,000 beyond the original amount to help for the, have the GIS help for the additional easement information located on there, so it would plot everything out.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions on it? Call for motion.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Item D, or section D, is reports and recommendations of officers, boards and commissions. The following items have been deemed non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council in a single motion. If a council member or a member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, it will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 1 is a motion to accept and place on file the City Manager's September reports for electric, wastewater, water, electric year-to-date, water year-to-date. Code enforcement. Item 2 is a motion to accept and place on file the Police Department's September report. Item 3 is a motion to accept and place on file the Fire Department September report. And 4 is a motion to accept and place on file Hamilton County Solid Waste Commission October agenda packet. How would you like to?
Move to approve collectively 1 through 4.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Are there any other reports?
Last week I was asked about the next Youth Advisory Commission meeting. It's tentative. I'm still waiting to hear back from a couple of them, but this week I spent some time reaching out to the Youth Advisory Commission members, some new and some old, and their parents, and trying to figure out a time where they could all meet on a monthly basis. As of right now, I think October 28th at 7 p.m., hopefully at Fuller Hall, but again, this is tentative. Waiting to hear back from a couple. We'll get back in the swing of things, tackle a couple issues, and hopefully get their input on some things Kent's working on. So.
Anyone else have any? Call for motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favour say aye. Opposed, same sign. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.